Should you ice after an injury? Because I bet if you asked around, the majority of people would say yes. But recent research has shown that icing an injury may actually delay healing. But why have we become so accustomed to icing after an injury if this is the case? Well, this way of thinking has been influenced by the RICE protocol, which stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation. This protocol has been the cornerstone in managing acute injuries since the late 70s and was developed based on the belief that minimizing inflammation was the key to faster healing. However, newer studies suggest that the inflammatory process plays a key role in initiating the body's natural healing mechanisms. You see, when you injure yourself, whether through trauma or intense exercise, your body experiences various degrees of inflammation. This involves your immune system sending cells and proteins to the injured area to promote recovery. The same inflammatory response occurs when your body fights off a virus. Inflammation is crucial for healing as it triggers the release of a hormone called Insulin-like Growth Factor, or IGF-1, by inflammatory cells known as macrophages. IGF-1 aids in the healing of damaged tissues, but research has shown that icing an injury can delay the healing process by preventing the release of IGF-1. This is because the application of ice constricts the blood vessels, impeding the flow of these factors to the injured tissue. This is also the case for anti-inflammatory medications such as cortisone and ibuprofen, which are effective at reducing inflammation so there is less pain and swelling, but reduce the release of important healing mediators, including IGF-1. For these reasons, anything that minimizes inflammation should be utilized strategically. Over the decades, the acronym has evolved into Peace and Love, which stands for protecting the area immediately after injury to minimize excessive stress on the injured tissue, elevation above the level of the heart to assist in swelling reduction, avoiding anti-inflammatory drugs to promote the release of healing mediators, compression to create a pressure gradient that helps to remove excessive fluid from the area, education on proper injury management, loading to stimulate tissue remodeling, optimism to reduce the fear of movement, vascularization through aerobic exercise to increase blood flow to the injured tissue, and exercise to restore conditioning and prevent re-injury. Now, does this mean you should never ice or use anti-inflammatory medications? Well, no. Too much inflammation could be bad too, resulting in increased compression through the damaged tissues, which impacts blood flow to the injured area, restricts movement, increases pain, and decreases muscle function. So in cases of more severe injuries or surgeries where there is typically a lot of swelling or pain, ice and the use of anti-inflammatory medications may actually be helpful, but only for a short period of time. So for now, based on the current research, don't be so quick to grab the ice pack. For minor injuries, remember to give your body some peace and love, and let the healing process run its course. What are your thoughts on the Peace and Love protocol and the use of ice? Feel free to share your experiences in the comments below. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Physio Show. If you did, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to learn more about your body, how it works, and what it needs to keep moving.